Hi and welcome back to the channel. Contrary to the parts on the table in front of me, we are still looking at the build of the IP Engineering Shelley Tram kit, which I'm building as Toby the Tram Engine from Thomas and Friends. The reason I have this collection of parts in front of me is that I'm going to attempt to make a face for the locomotive. So a lot of the videos on this channel have seen me destroying the Bachmann Thomas and Friends models to build more realistic models of locos. In this case, I'm actually going to try and build a Thomas and Friends inspired face to fit the Shelley Tram to make it look more like Toby the Tram Engine. These are some of the parts I've had out for playing around with to try and work out what exactly I'm going to do. Clearly this looks nothing like Toby's face, but does look a bit like a face. So yeah, I don't know how far I'll get with that this week, but I wanted to lay out my plan, and we'll see. Maybe that there is a second half of this video where I actually show you some progress. I really don't know yet. I actually haven't started. All I've done is collect together the bits and pieces. So let's walk through what my plan is. Firstly, I've cut a piece of black styrene. It's not very thick, probably a millimetre. Don't think it's much thicker than that. That fits perfectly into the space on the front of the tram loco. It fits so well, in fact, that to get it out again, I had to kind of slide the scalpel blade down the side and hoik it out. And my plan is to build the face onto this so that I can slot it into place, and when I don't want it, I can remove it. I obviously need to make it so it's a little easier to remove than it currently is, because yeah, I don't want to damage the model when I've painted it, or the face when I've finished making it. And I have a plan for that, which we'll come back to in a second. Now, like all these models, obviously, the Thomas characters have an actual face, and one of the big things about that is the eyes. Now, originally my plan had been to kind of to do the whole thing with kind of modelling putty. So I'd got this grey modelling putty from AK Interactive. It's a bit wet for modelling with, I think, rather than filling gaps. So I've also got my DAS clay. This is getting a bit old, it's a bit dry, so, but if I add water to it and actually a bit of PVA glue, it tends to soften up quite well. My son and I used it for something that he did as some school homework in the autumn, and it worked quite well. So my plan originally was probably to make the eyes up and everything and just do the whole thing from clay. But I decided, actually, my son has lots of other modelling stuff in the house. And a quick hunt through, and I found a packet of googly eyes. And these are, I think, roughly the right size. So you can see they're nice, and eyes that are loose in the thing, so they will actually kind of give different looks depending on how I've thrown it around or whatever before I stick it onto the loco each time. And I think that, given that this is the size of the face I'm going to need to build, these are actually not bad match for the eyes, especially when I get, I build up some clay around them to hide some of the outer white plastic and just leave the clear dome. So that's my plan for that. And as I say, the rest of the face will be putty on top. So what are the other parts that I had out? I had a coin. It's just a British 1 penny piece, and a bit of the scrap wood. This is actually that came out of the windows in the loco, so it's the right thickness for the front and the back. Now my plan with these is that, although it's a tight fit, I want to be able to try and hold it in place, and when it's on, a little bit more securely, and I also want to be able to pull it out when I'm done, and that's where the penny comes in. This is a trick that I've used when building wagon loads in the past for 00 gauge wagons. So you build up some kind of little structure. It looks a bit like a table that fills the wagon, and then you put a thin layer of coal or rocks or whatever on the top, glue it all together, slots in, and it looks, you actually make it up in the wagon, or I usually do, what I do is I kind of put some cling film in the wagon so I don't get glue or paint on it, and then I build the load in place so that each load fits a particular wagon perfectly. But the problem then is, once it fits perfectly, is getting it in and out. And the trick to that is the penny. I mean, obviously it's worth a penny, so it's not worth anything particular. But the nice thing about it is it's magnetic. So this is just one of these extended pickup magnetic stick things. But it does mean that when it's in underneath, under a layer of stuff in a wagon, you can kind of put a magnet at the top of it and pick it up, and it will lift the load out of the wagon. So yeah, my plan is to do the same with this. Now this is the same thickness of wood, so if I put the penny over the top, if I put the penny underneath, you can see that actually it will pick up, it will hold. So my plan is obviously not to use this magnet, but to get another kind of fairly strong rare earth magnet that I can put on the inside face. So, you know, the face would be stuck here. On the inside of the front of the loco, I could stick a magnet in place, and it would help hold it all in place to stop it falling off, because obviously if it falls off and the loco's going forward, it's going to get run over. So that would be that. The other thing would be, once it's in place and buried in the thing, I could obviously attach to it to pull it out of the slot in the front of the loco as well. I'd probably put some tissue paper or something over it to avoid damaging it too much, but that would be the kind of the plan. The only problem with that is that if I do plastic, wood and coin, it's very, very thin connection. There's almost no magnet at all. I mean, there is some, but it's not very much. It might actually be enough. It's difficult to tell. I was playing around with this earlier, and I thought that what I'd have to do was cut a hole in the middle of this, and essentially embed the penny in the plastic. That way, it would have the strongest connection out the back, and the strongest out the front. You know, and not too bad out the front either when you were kind of connecting on. But with another play on this, I'm not sure whether that's necessary. I mean, it does hold. It's quite weak. I'm in two minds. I'll probably cut it just because it makes life easier. Well, it would definitely be more reliable, and I don't want to find I've built this up and then it's not a strong enough connection. So I think, yes, I think what my plan is essentially is to cut a circular hole in the middle of this, bond the coin into place, and then build the face up on top. So as I say, I don't know whether I'm going to get to that this week. That's my plan. But I thought I'd record this video before I started, so you had an idea of what my plan was. And as I say, yeah, hopefully we'll get a bit more done. But we shall see. There might be a black screen saying a short while later. There may just be the thanks for watching video. Currently, I don't know. If there isn't any more, then thanks for watching, and next week we'll hopefully have some more progress. So a quick little update. I did get some more done this week. Not necessarily as much as I'd have liked, but we are making progress, and yeah, it's terrible. I guess I'm going to persevere. I'm not very good with this modelling thing. Sculpting. I think from a distance, it's probably not going to look too bad. It's going to need some sanding and more filling as I go on and on. But yeah, this is where we are so far. So I drilled out the hole and stuck the penny in the back, so that it can be attached, held in place with a magnet on the back, or you can kind of pull it off the model with a magnet on the front. The two googly eyes were stuck on, and then you can kind of see that it's multiple different colours of putty in here. So we've got the Das clay on the back. I kind of gave that pretty much an all over initial base, which lifted the face up into kind of in the right level with the eyes. Otherwise the eyes would have stuck out an awfully long way from the face. And yeah, that kind of was tricky to get on. My Das clay's old, getting it smooth as pain. So I sanded it a bit, and then I've used this modelling grey putty to kind of smooth over the whole surface. You can see it's not too bad in the middle. Around the edges a bit more problematic, and I'll probably have to go back in and fill some of these later. It's not too bad to move around. You can get it wet with a paintbrush and spread it. So I'm hoping a combination of kind of spreading it around and sanding will make it look alright. Obviously, it looks worse close up from a distance as it would be on the model. It doesn't look too bad. You can see the kind of further away you get. Obviously, the light is quite. I've got it under the light here. To help with the camera, which also doesn't help with reflections and shadows. So we'll see what it looks like. But you can see I've added eyebrows. I think they're just painted on in the original picture rather than actually raised. But I thought raised would make it easier to see them from a distance. And I've started on the nose as well. So I think that still needs a bit of work, but it's not looking too bad. I mean, I'm never going to get it looking exactly like the Toby the Tram Engine picture, but then it It changes from book to book, depending on the artist, and also across the TV series and things. So I think as long as I'm careful and go for something similar, I should be alright. So the nose probably wants to be a bit more pointed up, and possibly a little bigger, but I will probably have to wait till this chunk of putty dries and then kind of go back in and add some more. So it's going to take me more than this video is what I'm saying, but yeah, I think we're getting there. It's not looking too bad. I mean, as I say, okay, I said it was rubbish, but it's actually, I think, it could certainly be worse. As I say, this is my first attempt at trying to kind of sculpt anything really in the putty that's kind of organic-like. Normally I just use the DAS clay for kind of cobbles and details like that, or filling in gaps. I don't actually sculpt with the clay. That's not, it's never really been my my strong point. So this is definitely a learning experience, and if I have to do it again, I've got more plastic, more googly eyes. We can always have another go, but I'm going to persevere and see what we get. So that'll probably be next week's video. We might have a completed face. We shall see. But that's all for this week. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you want to keep up to date, then the subscribe button should be about here, and you'll get to see the rest of this face once I've finished it. Thanks.